In his inaugural address yesterday, President Obama proclaimed an end to the, quote, petty grievances that have for too long strangled our politics. And today, what's he dealing with? What seems like kind of a lot of petty grievances. For example, President Obama still has no Treasury Secretary, despite the fact that after a week's delay, Tim Geithner finally faced a confirmation hearing. He is expected to be confirmed eventually, even by the Republican senators who spent today voicing concerns about mistakes that he made on his income taxes. Republican objections are also responsible for the delay in getting President Obama's Secretary of State confirmed. Hillary Clinton's vote did not happen until just a few hours ago. She was confirmed, but the vote did not happen until just now because a certain senator from Texas who is not named Kay Bailey Hutchison apparently still had some questions about Bill Clinton's foundation and the donations it gets from foreign entities. And even though this Texas senator said Hillary Clinton was qualified and that he intended to vote for her confirmation, he felt it was necessary to just slow down the process, hold it up for a beat. Now, principled opposition to any nominee is not a bad thing. That's democracy. If you don't think somebody is the right person for the job, you don't think they're qualified, you don't vote for them. But when the person in opposition isn't actually opposed to the nominee, actually goes on to vote for the nominee, and instead just enjoys the delaying process, the delaying tactics for the purposes of getting themselves attention, that person doesn't get his name mentioned on the television because that would seem to be rewarding his search for publicity. Finally, that same nameless GOP senator is also responsible for the holdup of another important member of President Obama's team, Attorney General designate Eric Holder. The Judiciary Committee was scheduled to vote on Mr. Holder's nomination today, but now Republicans have gotten that pushed back too until next week, citing his recent answers on torture as a rationale. Those are three vitally important cabinet nominees delayed by senators who appear to plan on ending up voting to confirm these nominees anyway, at least for the most part. While the power of one individual senator to take a stand, be it in a filibuster or a confirmation hearing, is one of the great things about our system of government, in my opinion, individual senators who hold up important confirmation hearings for no other apparent reason than to hold up confirmation hearings just for the sake of the delay, that seems sort of petty, which means that once again, I need somebody to talk me down. Joining us now, that is Senator Sherrod Brown, the Ohio Democrat. He serves on the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee. Senator Brown, it is very nice to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Great to see you in person. Thank you, Rachel.
So we expected that Tim Geithner would be confirmed by now. This has already been delayed and sort of delayed again. Is he ultimately going to get confirmed, and what do you make of the holdup?
He's going to get confirmed. The yet unnamed Texas senator, not Kay Bailey Hutchison, also happens to be the head of the Republican Senate Campaign Committee. I think that's worth noting. And he didn't even vote against Hillary, as you said, although he spoke against it and spoke about it and put a hold on her. The delays have been short so far, but we have a huge amount of work to do to create jobs. I mean, that's this whole point of the stimulus package and what we're doing. I give them the benefit of the doubt, though. I think we start that way. I was at the inaugural prayer service at the National Cathedral today. The president and the vice president and others were there, and I sat a couple of seats away from Senator McCain, and he has stepped up, and I stepped up and done the right thing, spoke for Hillary, said let's vote, let's get this through. So has Lindsey Graham. Other major Republicans have stepped up in the right way. I think we give them a benefit of the doubt. I think they understand that confirmation of all of these important people, the Attorney General, the Treasury Secretary, the Secretary of State, and so many other important cabinet officials, all of that is so important, and moving on this stimulus package is. So I think that they got the message. Most Republicans, a couple didn't, but they got the message that in this election that the voters want something different. Barack Obama surely has gotten the message. He had the message all of last year. That's one reason he won. His behavior has been exemplary, both in the transition period and his first couple of days in office. I think most Republicans will follow suit, and we're going to see a much better government in the days ahead.
It does seem like there is disagreement or maybe even disorganization among Republicans in terms of what their tactics are going to be. They don't seem to have a unified front on issues like this. At least one hasn't emerged yet. But the rules of the Senate are such that even one senator can really hamstring the actions of the body for quite some time. Because the Republicans haven't really figured out their leadership and their tactical approach. Do you think there is a risk that we'll see a few senators sort of go rogue and decide to block things as much as they can because obstruction seems like the principled way to make a difference?
Perhaps the principled way, but not the principled way for them. I think that doesn't work. I mean, when you've got one or two stand in the way, as you did, two people today voting against Senator Clinton, one person stood in the way, but only for a day before that. The delay, after a while, they start paying a political price, and we have 59 Democrats. We don't get them all on every issue, of course, nor should we probably, but there will be a number of Republicans that vote with us if they're embarrassed by their party that simply engage in obstructionism, and it's just simply too early to tell. But I do take Senator McCain and other leading Republicans, Lindsey Graham and my other senator in my state, George Voinovich, at face value that they're going to work together. I think they know they need to. This country's in worse trouble than any time in the political career of any of us in the Senate or the House or anywhere else, and I absolutely believe they're patriots. I absolutely believe they want the right thing for their country, the great majority of them, and we will move forward.
You're sort of talking me down.
Sort of. It's never an easy thing.
We're about out of time. Just one last quick question on the bailout. Do you think the rest of the bailout money, the TARP money, is going to be administered in a substantially different way than the first half of it was?
Totally different. First, totally different. Money goes for housing, money goes for autos, because that's the most important single industry, not just in my state, but in the country, and it's important for national defense. And the money that goes for financial institutions won't be used for banks to buy other banks, won't be used for dividends and executive compensation and all that. Barack Obama looks at this very differently from Secretary of the Treasury Paulson did and George Bush did. And basically, Barack Obama and the new Treasury Secretary are going to treat this, I believe, the same way that we treated the auto industry. We want accountability. We'll do this, but it has to be done right. It's important for the financial markets. It's important for getting credit flowing. It's important, particularly for small business, to create jobs around this country.
Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio.
Thanks.
So nice to see you. Thanks for coming in.